Run the dang ball, Bert. So many people will be talking about the running game as a key to Auburn and Texas A&M Saturday, and we will talk about it on a brand new Village Vice. He is Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. Thanks for watching. Today's show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. They're still doubling your initial deposit. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
How are they still in business? I don't get it.
Well, we could get into that too. There are definitely ways. But Auburn is a 2.5-point underdog at home. You like that number? Whichever way you think the game's going to go, do you like that number? If so, go to mybookie.ag and double your initial deposit and really have some fun this November with our friends at MyBookie. Okay, middle of the week, Zach, and everybody's talking about running the football against Texas A&M. They saw South Carolina do it 2 weeks ago, and they say, well, Auburn should be able to, in theory. Jarquez is fresh. There's been one game this year, or 2 games, I guess. He did it against New Mexico, where he got north of 20 carries. There's 8 games this year where he said south of 20 carries. So why do we believe he'll have more than 20 against Texas A&M?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't think that he will. I don't think he will get north of 20, and I'll say 20 touches. I won't say just 20 carries. I think if he does, I think it puts Auburn in a better chance to win. But, I don't know if you're saying we as in me and you, or we as like the collective we. Like, why do Auburn people think that he's going to get 20 touches? But I don't think he's going to, because there's been other big games this year where we're like, okay, let Jarquez cook, let him eat. And they haven't given him that opportunity. So to me, it seems clear, but my gut is, if I had to guess, like if the over-under of Jarquez total touches is 17.5, I would probably take the under.
Yeah, I would set it at 15.5. And I
might take the rushes or touches.
Touches.
15.5. That might be a pretty good line.
Yeah. And here's why, because I can hear and internally I'm doing it too. Or like, no, he's got to have more than that. But we've seen, first of all, one of the strengths of Texas A&M is their interior defensive line. They plug A and B gaps really well. Okay. So they just don't allow teams to run against them up the middle. And Hugh Freeze mentioned it in his press conference on Monday, and then kind of voluntarily brought it back up on Tiger Talk Monday night. They don't run a lot of gap scheme runs. It's zone schemes are lower risk of negative plays. And so I think you see more zone blocking. I think Payton Thorne is a bigger story in the running game than Jarquez Hunter is Saturday. And I think their carries are similar. I think they're very, very close to the number of carries in this game. And I think that's to Auburn's benefit, because A&M is going to sell out to stop Jarquez Hunter.
So Payton hasn't been a big part of the running game this year like he was a year ago. Mm-hmm. Do you think this coaching staff is just going to be able to pivot and change what they've been doing or attempted to do this year just on a dime? Because I have a hard time seeing that, Brad.
Well, I think that you're going to see A&M play coverage a little differently than we've seen some. I think they're going to be up on the receivers a little more, and that's going to lead those run-pass option plays. The option is the run, but it's not necessarily a Jarquez run. I think it's in Payton's, it's Payton's decision then. Do I hand off or do I keep it? And I just think the space on the outside is going to be for Auburn to have success in the game. It's going to have to mirror more of what South Carolina did with Lenoris Sellers. He went over 100 yards in the game. Now, Rocket Sanders did too. Sanders had a better game, but kind of his success up the middle opened things up for Sellers on the outside. And that was a problem for A&M. Even as much as Rocket Sanders was a problem, Lenoris Sellers and his ability to make plays in a running game, those were a problem. Now that's been the outlier for A&M this year.
Yeah.
If you're banking on that, and I've got some numbers to back that up. Can I run through these very quickly for you?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So A&M's played 6 conference games. In conference games only, Florida ranked 7th at 148 yards a game. A&M held them to 52, 35% of their average. Arkansas averages $147. That's 8th in the league. A&M held them to 100. That's 68% of their average. Missouri gets 135. That's 11th. They were held to 68. Mississippi State gets 156. They're 6th. They got 125 against them. LSU only averages 103 yards a game on the ground in SEC only games. They're 15th. They're next to last.
Mm-hmm.
They only got 24. So they're bad at it anyway, and they were real bad against A&M.
Yeah.
South Carolina's 4th in the league in rushing at 161. They got 296. If you take away South Carolina, on average, teams are getting about 51% of their rush yards per game against Texas A&M. For Auburn, who is 5th in conference-only games, that would be about 81 yards. 81.
Yeah, if Auburn gets 81 yards rushing, they don't win this football game.
No.
Yeah.
No. Now, you don't have to get, South Carolina got 180% of their total.
Yeah.
That's about 290 yards for Auburn.
So I'm just going to ask the question because, we all know, you're a numbers guy, Brad, but the numbers don't tell everything. So, A&M, they've gotten up on a lot of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And does that then kind of limit your ability to run the football consistently if you're playing against a Texas A&M offense who can run the football, who can eat clock, yada, yada, yada? And so does it make more sense to pass it if you're in a hole early against Texas A&M or in the second half against A&M? I think that's going to hurt some of that rushing production.
Yep.
So just to kind of give a little context to those numbers.
And specifically against Florida and Missouri, that was absolutely a part of it. Again,
Sure.
The 3 teams that were held under 100 yards. It's LSU's identity to throw way more than they run anyway. Again, they're next to last in the league in running the ball.
Yeah, right.
And Nussmeier's been among the league leaders in passing, or was for the first 2/3 of the year. So that's game plan. That's what they do. They got up big against Florida. Florida only had 25 rush attempts in the game. Same with Missouri. They didn't have as many rush attempts, and they're in the bottom third of the league in rushing. When you look at Auburn, they're a team they're in the top third in rushing. And so another note that I had specifically from the South Carolina game is that was tied at halftime. South Carolina got out to the early lead. A&M tied it up before half.
Okay.
South Carolina outscored them 24-0 in the second half. That's where your running game can be a strength. If you don't abandon the run, if you stick with it, you can wear them down. And with a 2-headed or 3-headed running attack in Hunter and Alston, who can really bang and lean on a team with their physicality, and with Payton then pulling it and making the decision to run around the end, I think that can be a strength if Auburn is willing to be patient. And that's the big question. Can they be patient? You're going to have runs up the middle for 1 yard, 2 yards, 2.5. You're going to have that. Can you stick with it?
Yeah, and in the past, when they haven't gotten chunk plays on the ground, they've gone away from it. So my gut says no, they will not be patient on Saturday. But we'll see. We'll certainly see what happens. I think Auburn running the ball presents a better opportunity than Auburn passing the football against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, and you need to get Cam Coleman and KLS and Malcolm Simmons involved, we'll see. The game plan they did against ULM was solid. They did a good job of getting guys in space. How much of that was the game plan, and how much of that was you're playing ULM, and how much of it was a combination of the two?
Yeah, if folks didn't watch or listen to Tiger Talk on Monday, again, Hugh Freeze was very transparent about that, and it's going to frustrate some fans, but it is, again, it's transparent. I'd rather have the transparency. Like, we have the most human football coach in a very long time here, who's just willing to kind of tell you like it is. And he's like, their corners were playing off. Not everybody's going to play 10-yard give you 10-yard cushions. That makes it easy just to flip it out and see what a receiver can do. I know you and I share one of our favorite plays, just a little flip out to Malcolm and let him get 6-7 yards.
Yeah, right.
That's great. That works. But what happens if the corners are playing bump and run, or if they're jamming at the line, and then what happens? Do you have enough time for those guys to create separation before those defensive ends are crashing down? That's how I expect A&M to play defensively.
Do you and I share a favorite play? Is that what you just said?
It's one of, like, you love it when Auburn throws a little quick pass out to Malcolm near the line of scrimmage and lets him run, right?
You know what else we both love?
It's not lunch, I'll tell you that. What is it, Rowback?
Rowback.com. Whether it's the best hoodies in the game, or the best polos in the game, or the quarter zips. I've been rocking the quarter zips a lot lately, Brad. Just, it's cooling off just a little bit. Rocking a quarter zip. Are you kidding me? Nothing screams pure class like a Rowback quarter zip. And they've got all different patterns and styles, and they've even got some Auburn stuff as part of their game day collection. All of it is at rowback.com, RHOBACK.com, and check out their very expansive and extensive catalog. The holidays are here. Get that Christmas shopping done early over at rowback.com. Use promo code VICE20 for 20% off your order.
It is expansive. It is extensive. It's not expensive, though, when you use the promo code VICE20. Everybody I know is getting Rowback for Christmas. Just
everybody
coming. So,
are you getting me Rowback? You gonna give me some?
You have Rowback. You have plenty of Rowback. You can get the Rowback yourself.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna get you gift certificates for lunch. By the way, can I give you a quick rant and let me gauge you on this?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, thanks. I heard a morning show talking about this today on the radio, and I thought, never agreed more in the history of my life with the topic. All right. Downtown parking payment is more difficult than ever, and the concept has run its course. The concept of charging to pay to eat lunch downtown or go shop downtown, when you're trying to encourage people to go downtown, any city, I'm not just talking about Auburn, but I am talking about Auburn. Any city in the world, if you want to encourage downtown retail commerce, support local business, support it all, don't make it difficult to park, and don't ask people to pay to park, period. But if you do, don't make me fiddle with an app, because I don't know my license tag. I don't know my license plate number off the top of my head. I don't know my debit card number off the top of my head. I got to go.
You don't know your license plate number on the top of your head?
Sure don't. And
what do you mean?
Don't lie. So listen, 10% or fewer.
Are you kidding me?
No.
You don't know your license plate?
No, absolutely not. Not off the top of my head.
Do you know your phone number?
Sure.
Do you know your social?
All the time. I know my address, know my phone number. I know all that stuff. Don't have to recite it. Don't have to fill it out in an app all the time.
You don't know your license plate number? Hey, that's insane.
And what? You don't either? Stop it.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, text it to me right now. Text it right now. I'll wait. Don't look it up either.
No, I'm texting it to you right now.
Your license plate number. I know my driver's license number, but not my license plate, not my tag. Like, unless you have a vanity tag, you don't know it right off the top of your head.
Oh, I have a
vanity tag. That doesn't count.
Why not?
Because that's easy to remember. I'm talking about if you just got numbers, you don't know that. Look, and what happens
if I had just random numbers and letters, I would memorize it. You walk past that 1,000,000 times a day. How do you not know what it says?
Why do I need to know what it says?
You just see it. It's not even a need thing at that point. But it's also important. Like, if you're going to a place where I just don't understand how you don't know that. That's crazy to me.
I don't know. No, I think you're in the minority here. I think there's fewer than 10% of people watching who just know their license plate number off the top of their head if it's not a vanity plate. Look, and I had this happen about a month ago. I went downtown to eat lunch with my dad. My dad was in to visit. We went downtown, and I ate lunch.
You ate lunch?
I know. That's a thing, too.
You hate lunch.
I know. But I ate it on this day because family was in town. And I went to put the parking info in the app, and the app was having trouble. I'm like, well, do the parking people know the app is having trouble? Do I have to now be vigilant and watch for people to come to the car? And
Right.
are they going to give me a ticket because the app has a problem?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's unnecessary stress. I can go, do you know how many choices I have for lunch or for retail shopping? I have too many choices to be fiddling with paying $1 to park. Let me pop 2 quarters in a machine. Okay. Don't have a problem with that. That's fine. It's just unnecessary baggage to try to go down to any downtown area. Don't do it. Let's be better than that. Tag an extra 50 cents on my bill when I go buy the shirt or buy the sandwich or whatever, and let's support downtown merchants that way. Don't make me go through the hassle of paying the park.
Well, I know the morning show that you're talking about. I hosted it for 3 years before I did podcasting full time, and they talk about parking nonstop on that show.
It actually was a different show. It was not that one.
There are multiple morning shows in Lee County talking about downtown parking in Auburn.
No, they weren't talking about Auburn, but they were talking about in general. They were talking about downtown.
Oh,
I just thought in my 30 years of listening to the show,
no, you made it about our. Yeah, I got it. 100%.
Never agreed more with anything than that.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something I don't agree with.
Hold on. And just for folks who don't understand like the story that Brad Law just told, if you ever just want to tick off Brad Law,
yeah,
you just ever want to just send him on one.
Yeah.
Next time you're eating a meal, commonly known for, you eat in the middle of the day, usually between the hours of 11 and 1.
Yeah.
If you take a picture of your midday meal, also known as lunch, and tweet at Brad what you're having for lunch, nothing will send him more than that.
It's all right. If you want to take time out of your productive day to stop and eat just a smaller version of what you're going to eat at dinner time.
I can't believe you don't know your tag number by heart.
I know that. Hey, I know it starts with a 43 because that's my county.
Yeah, I mean, my wife doesn't know hers.
She shouldn't. It's not.
It's
not necessary. Why
shouldn't?
Why should any of us just know it off the top of our head? Fewer than 10% of people watching. I'm telling you.
This is wild to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Talk about Mike Elko.
So Mike Elko.
You had another bold take here, I think.
Mike Elko had a slip of the tongue earlier this week when asked about looking ahead to Texas.
Yeah.
And he says, no, when you're in the situation we're in and, playing for what we're playing for, it's not hard to stay focused. And our full attention is on Texas, or Auburn. Sorry. That was what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing that could have happened for Auburn. The worst.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an indicator that they're looking past Auburn. I think it's a straight slip of the tongue.
Oh, I don't think it matters at all. Like I don't. They're not watching Texas tape, or at least the players aren't. They're focused on Auburn this week. But to say it like helps or hurts, I think it's funny. Like it's objectively funny. Yeah. But I don't think it matters one way or the other.
It is objectively funny that it happened. But if there was any sense of looking ahead, and I don't know that there was anyway, that's a playoff team. That's a team that can go to the playoff. You can't lose to Auburn and go to the playoff. It's not about Texas. It's about Texas A&M and what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there was any like free-floating confusion or apathy or lack of focus, it's gone now. Gone now for sure.
I mean, I don't think it matters one way or the other, but I see your point.
Yeah,
I see your point for sure.
The point is, I don't think it's this great thing that 100% now that confirms they're looking ahead.
I don't think that was the discussion around it. I think the discussion around it was, this is funny, and Texas A&M acts like they're not concerned about Texas in every aspect of life, and he made that slip. I think that's what the narrative, the discussion is.
I think it's funnier for Texas fans,
as probably. It should be. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
But like But their players aren't impacted by that at all. Their focus is
No,
on
but
this
it
game.
does become if they lose on Saturday, it does become a thing.
Well, and that's kind of what I want to get to is there shouldn't be any discussion about them looking ahead to Texas if Auburn wins this game. Auburn is good enough to win this game on its own merit with Texas A&M playing its best. Auburn has a top 5 rushing offense, top 5 rushing defense in league games only. Their defense is good enough to keep them around in the game. And they have enough weapons offensively, both in the running game and the passing game and the receiving game, to make it happen. So if Auburn wins this game, it's not because Texas A&M is looking ahead. It's because Auburn outplayed them at home in a night game and went out the right way at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so then like when you look at what's at stake on Saturday, Texas A&M is playing for a spot in the college football playoff. Right now, it seems like they're on the outside looking in, but a lot of people, I think that because they're not expecting them to beat Texas next week. Another thing that's interesting here is what happens. Like Texas doesn't have a win over a ranked team.
Yeah.
And I think some people are expecting, well, A&M's got a 15 next to their name. But what gets interesting is if Auburn beats Texas A&M and then Texas beats Texas A&M, it's like Texas A&M falls out of the top 25 and Texas is the third-ranked team in the country without a ranked win this season. I think that would be a fascinating thing just to see like the mental gymnastics and all the hoops people jump for to like make the case for how good Texas is.
Yeah.
And I don't think Texas is bad. And I would probably put them at 3 right now, but I understand the arguments of, putting them lower. It'd be interesting to see that happen.
It's very interesting. People are really hating on Indiana. They got the same number of top 25 wins as Texas does.
Yeah.
Same.
Totally. Right.
Same. Like, what's Texas's best win right now?
Is it Oklahoma?
Michigan?
I think Oklahoma's better than Michigan. No offense to you, Brad, but sure.
Then okay. Oklahoma or Florida.
Yeah, Florida right now. I mean, when they played Florida, they weren't as good. Like, Florida's better now than when Texas played them, but that's not how it works.
Last week or 2 weeks ago. But, yeah.
I guess the LSU win for Florida is just really fired me up, I guess. I don't know.
But, yeah, they have the same number, and everybody's hating on Indiana. Nobody wants to say. They're just assuming Texas is going to beat Texas A&M in College Station.
And I think they will. Like, I don't think it's a terrible thing to assume. And it's not Texas's fault that Oklahoma has fallen off and, Florida's been what they have been. And when they scheduled, to play Michigan, they probably thought that was going to be a tough. Like, that's not Texas's fault.
Sure.
But to go after Indiana and not Texas at this point, I do think is silly.
Yeah. So they've still got to prove it. And I think A&M will win that game in Texas, which would be if Auburn beats A&M and then A&M beats Texas, and it's a complete free-for-all for the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
so
that'd be
pandemonium.
That'd be crazy.
I'm rooting for that scenario, obviously, because I want total.
Yeah, if we're not in it, I just want to see chaos happen. 100%.
You're right. Watch it burn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, go check out thebarnauburn.com. You can sign up for your first month. It's just $1, and that $1 gets you early signing day coverage. It gets you transfer portal opening coverage as far as which players are going to hop in. You'll probably learn that first over thebarnauburn.com, as well as, of course, basketball coverage, football coverage, and more. But I think that about does it for today's show, Brad.
It does. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.